Stop scrolling for a second, because what I'm about to say might hit you personally. If you've ever found yourself staring at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes, or replaying conversations in your head wondering what you did wrong, you're not alone. Most people at some point have chased someone who gave them just enough attention to stay, but never enough to feel secure. And in that emotional confusion, we react, we block, we beg, we chase, thinking somehow this will make them care. But the truth is, those reactions don't bring them closer, they push them further away. Here's the mistake almost nobody realizes they're making. When you block someone out of frustration, it feels powerful in the moment. It feels like you're taking control. But psychologically, it rarely creates the impact you think. Instead of making them reflect deeply, most people just feel confused, or even relieved. And when you beg for attention, it does something even more damaging. It signals that your emotional state depends on them. That kind of energy doesn't create attraction, it creates distance. Not because you're not worthy, but because human psychology responds differently than we expect. Something interesting happens when you stop reacting. When you're no longer instantly available. When you're no longer chasing. When you're calm instead of emotional. People notice, not because you told them to, but because your energy is different. Humans are wired to be curious about what they don't fully understand. When someone who used to react suddenly becomes composed and self-contained, it creates a psychological pull. They start asking themselves questions. Why is she different now? Why isn't she responding the same way? And that curiosity is where attraction begins to grow. But here's where everything changes. There is a single shift, a small but powerful change in how you behave that can completely flip the dynamic between you and that person. It's not about ignoring them to play games. It's not about pretending you don't care. It's about genuinely stepping into a mindset where your life, your time, and your energy are not centered around them. When that shift happens internally, your actions change naturally. And when your actions change, their perception of you changes. At the center of all of this is one thing: self-value. Not fake confidence, not arrogance, real self-respect. The kind where you don't need constant validation to feel okay. When you truly value yourself, you stop over-explaining, you stop over-chasing, you stop trying to convince someone to see your worth. And the moment you stop trying to prove your value, people start recognizing it on their own, because value is not something you force others to see. It's something they feel through your behavior. One of the most powerful tools you can use is silence. Not silent treatment, not avoidance, but intentional silence. Choosing not to react immediately, choosing not to respond emotionally. That pause creates space, and in that space something powerful happens. Your words gain weight, your presence becomes intentional. Instead of being predictable and reactive, you become calm and controlled, and people naturally respect what feels controlled more than what feels desperate. You don't need big dramatic actions to change a dynamic. Small behavioral shifts are enough. Replying less urgently, focusing more on your own life, investing your energy into things that actually grow you, your goals, your hobbies, your social circle. These shifts may seem small, but they send a powerful message. Your life doesn't revolve around one person. And when someone sees that, they begin to reassess your importance, because people value what isn't easily available. Most people think power in relationships comes from control over the other person, but real power comes from control over yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your impulses. When you feel the urge to text them again, and you don't, when you feel like reacting emotionally, and you pause instead, that's power. And that kind of control changes everything. Because now, instead of being driven by emotions, you're driven by intention. And intention always leads to better outcomes. Over time, these changes start to shift the dynamic. The person who once took you for granted starts noticing your absence. The energy you used to give freely is no longer there. And suddenly they feel it. They begin to think about you more. They start reaching out, not because you forced them, but because your behavior created space for them to feel your value. This is what most people don't understand. Attraction grows in space, not in pressure. So if you've been blocking, begging, or chasing, understand this. You don't need to do more to make someone care. You need to do less, but with intention. Shift your focus back to yourself. Protect your energy. Move with calm, not desperation. because the moment you stop chasing is the moment everything starts to change. And if you want the exact step-by-step way to apply this without pushing them away, just comment "tell me" and I'll show you how to flip the dynamic completely.